was just such a weird beginning of the year, like between constantly getting sick and everything else going like back and forth. I never
Between
get
what?
between getting sick like 2-3 times in the winter, and then having other stuff on my plate. I didn't get to sit down and do my own like paperwork. So so when I saw the deadlines, I was like I could with the extension, but even with the extension, you have to put projections. So it was just like I had to put that together at least. Okay, so. Now you want the presentation here, and then that stays the same, right?
Yes,
Okay,
right.
cool. Yeah, because that's what I carry.
I just sent Diana Page the link.
Okay.
But yeah, instead of asking John, I'm just gonna fish the thing myself. I didn't realize the conduit was literally just like right there. When we pull the SDI cable,
Yeah. The,
you just literally run one of those mechanical, you just pull the wire the other
oh,
side.
no,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, it was a lot simpler than I thought he had.
So where are you stringing it from and to? That's what I want to understand.
There.
For where to where?
So remember when I said the SDI converter is over there?
Yeah,
I'm gonna move it from there to inside here.
okay,
That way it just connects directly to those functions.
okay, and how are you gonna get behind onto the floor?
Oh, I'm just gonna fish it.
Fish it under the floor?
And yeah, there's a conduit right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, so basically you just run it and it'll come out the other side. You just pull it. I thought he had a thing where he was going through the ceiling.
okay, I'm concerned when you're, I'd almost rather have John there, I trust you, but if something gets broken,
Oh, right.
yeah, exactly, what we think,
So what he did was he just bundled it with the tape
right?
and then he just fished it
Right.
through.
Patrick, just coordinate with John and
Okay.
have him do it, please.
Okay, no problem.
You just push a wire through and it goes through.
Yeah, no, you should see it. Like I had it done 2 weeks ago.
Wait, you sort of, it had a long tool,
It's a big
it
spool.
kind of looks like a metal anteater.
It's a big spool. It just pushes through, and then you see it come out the other end, and then you hook whatever device you want onto it, tape it, just to play safe, and then start wheeling, twirling it back. Or sometimes they're motor operated, and it just slowly pulls it back to the other side.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like when you build a modern house nowadays, it's good to have conduits everywhere because with all this technology that keeps changing every like 5-6 years, it's good to have those tools to pull the new wires through.
Oh, that's cool.
So like, if you go to like old school homes, they don't have conduits, that's why people are constantly drilling holes in the wall, but new houses all have pipelines where you run wires through. So, whenever I take a fixer upper, it's gonna be loaded with conduits,
Gary, I left the change order for you to sign.
Got it right here, got my pen.
Thank you.
Oh, Carissa, you just got the video of the first softball game of the season.
Oh, yes, Vic showed me it.
So will you post it on our social media?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen all the people out there. Thank you.
So the community conversation is up.
I'm not gonna discuss it unless I'm forced to.
The community conversation,
No.
you have to advertise it. Or you not want anybody to show up.
Not that. Diana Page, our exchange, I don't wanna discuss it. Unless I'm forced to discuss it.
I'm not giving you the hairy eyeball.
Patrick, we're gonna do it was a challenge again,
It was what,
a challenge, getting the computer,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I did it.
I'm a little concerned about the entire
You know what it is?
site
We're going,
map.
we're going in, the site looks fantastic.
Thank you, no, I mean how we're getting it there, right? I feel
Oh.
like we're MacGyvered together now with the cord.
Oh. Well, this was the only the problem, and what it is it's going through too many things. It doesn't need to go from here, it can go here, direct to us, and it should be a piece of cake, you just turn it on, it works.
Okay,
So, again, that's the final.
when are you installing
I don't know, Patrick was saying something about it.
He's ordering the
Oh.
long SDI
Oh, okay,
cord, is that
okay.
it?
Yeah, and then I guess, what's his name, Paul or something.
Yeah, I would prefer that, John
Yeah, John.
Berardi has been pulling all of our low voltage
Yeah, yeah.
wires since the restoration. So I just assume have him do it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just don't want it on Patrick's head.
Yeah, oh, yeah, then that should be the final issue with these things, we should be good.
And then we will have circumvented the
We have some,
restaurant?
yes, we don't need it, we're going into that machine, we don't need to be going from here into there. We're going directly from this guy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
all
it
right,
should be good.
I hope so. Until the next day.
Yeah,
But, we're
yeah.
very much, what I don't have, and I really would like, is, Marino Delzato and Brandon Ashford. I'd love to get them literally a flow chart of here's all the pieces of equipment and how they're connected. And do you think between you and Patrick, you can put that together? Yeah, for sure. I would really need. Great, thank you.
community conversation. All right, so I'll bring some help and answer that.
That's great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll handle all the, you're gonna handle all the microphones in the setup, or I'll do that?
I ended up doing it with Jack last year because I didn't like the existing setup.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna do it this year?
Yeah, I'll bring it. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want us to get the whole mic system over there? With the two speakers?
Definitely. To bring it anyway.
Mm-hmm,
What I
you're
did-
gonna have your own speakers?
What I ended up doing last year was I brought mine to bolster it because it just didn't set.
So what?
To bolster it.
The bolster.
To bolster it, like make it.
Got it, to bolster it,
Yeah.
okay, but so we're setting up?
Hi, Diana. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Awesome.
Great. Okay, perfect.
I don't know if I will be able to share my screen. I'm doing this from my phone, and normally I do it from a desktop computer. So, can I share my screen from here when it comes time for me to show my presentation? If I can't, Debbie said she would kindly just kind of page forward, and I can follow along on my. I have my presentation open on my iPad. So.
Okay, yeah, I put it up on the computer, so it'll be up on the screen as well. So
Awesome.
you'll be
Okay,
able to
thank you
see
so
it.
much.
No
Thank
problem.
you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Get me to sing today at the Rybrook Seniors Seder, and I was not singing. I'm sorry. I don't sing in public.
I used to do karaoke. Not well.
I don't do karaoke.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rye-Town Park Commission meeting of April 15th, 2025. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll, Deb.
Commissioner Josh Cohn,
Here.
Commissioner Jason Klein,
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey Jackson,
Here.
President Zuckerman.
Here. First item, as usual, is approval of the minutes for March 18th. If there are no additions or corrections, may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Public comment on non-agenda items?
I am,
Yeah.
Okay.
I live at Water's Edge, which
Would,
is.
would you go to the microphone, please?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
I'd love to. I live at Water's Edge, which is right next to the
Use the
park.
microphone. Put the microphone.
How about this?
Very good.
And
Oh,
start
okay.
with your name, please.
Oh, John Linder. Living next to the park at Water's Edge, I go to the park with my dog maybe 3 to 4 times a day. And the aggressiveness of the geese at the park is not being managed. This is public space. I have seen kids, they think it's candy, they put it in their mouth. They run, they roll in the goose poop. The geese are everywhere. They migrate from one section to another section. For a little while, the north end of the park was free of geese. This is public space. It should be managed. Now, I know geese nest. They nest at Edith Reed. If you spray oil on the eggs, that will discourage them, for one. Number two, I think there should be a GoFundMe to raise money to get the dogs to come to the park every once in a while. They're effective. Other towns have done it. You know, Rye, Portchester, I'm not sure where I am, Rye Brook, we have money to do something. This is public space. To have to, my dog got terribly sick from eating the poop. And as much as you walk them, you can't stop them. They're quicker than I am. I'm an older guy. But I don't know. You could put those movable wolves. You could get some funding for the dogs to come every once in a while. And sooner or later, they will be discouraged. There are other towns that have done it. We're not the only one. And the geese are aggressive. And they spread bird flu and other diseases. And kids, you know the kids roll in it because there's grass, you know? So that's my shtick. So,
And you're sticking to it.
but I would like some action taken. It's fine to come and say it, and you all know it. You all go to the park, I assume. Russ knows about it. And I've said, one thing you could do in the pond, you could float swans. They don't like swans. These floatable swans. But you could put these wolves that move in the wind. We do it at Water's Edge, 1 or 2. It helps, you know? I mean, we're just a big free-for-all for these geese.
I really didn't realize that the problem was as severe. I knew that we had geese. I didn't
Yeah.
realize the problem was as severe as you
Everywhere.
are portraying it right now, and it certainly should be addressed if we
Well,
can.
Russ
I know
Russ
that-
isn't on this, is he?
Pardon me?
Is Russ on this Zoom thing? Or
I
no?
don't know. He should be. I don't know if he is.
I don't think he's on the Zoom.
Yeah, but he certainly could attest to it.
Didn't we address this at one point a few years ago? Did we hire somebody? I know that there are companies,
That I'm aware of.
I know that there are companies that do
I
do
see him,
this.
I see
We
him.
had a proposal from a company a number of years ago.
They're dogs that come and they're trained to go after the geese.
But we're not allowed to kill them.
The dogs don't kill the geese. I wish they would, but, you know, that's another.
Well, if we, we could hire hunters, but that's
No,
against
no.
the law.
But they do-
USDA.
Yeah.
They make it very uncomfortable for them, and they will find another place to go. You know,
I think we can look to see what we could do,
yeah.
okay? I don't, Mayor Cohen, Mayor Klein, do you have other problems in your communities with geese other than here?
We haven't, but I understand John's issue, and I think we can try to find a solution.
And would it be illegal for me to post a sign up there, GoFundMe, and get some money on my own to contribute to hiring these dogs?
Well,
There's
I
a
think,
special name for these dogs, but you can
I
find-
think that's premature right now. I
Right.
think we should look into what is available to do.
Right.
Whether, there are even, I know it would take a while to get one, even grants to do this from the Department of Environmental Conservation, things like that. Obviously, Town Park is not the only place that has a
No, I
good,
think
and they,
Armonk
and they
has a
have,
terrible problem.
and they have it at a lot of the golf courses too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Debbie, what do you have?
We have 2 comments on Facebook. One from Steve Vasco saying, yes, the problem has gotten severe. And one from Marianne Suma saying they had this issue at Playland and Playland seemed to have taken care of it. You might check with the county.
Hi guys, I don't know. Oh, sorry, I know Marianne. Oh, sorry. I
Hi,
work
Diana.
with Marianne, so, hi, Marianne. What about getting swans if they don't like swans? Can't we add swans to the duck pond? Sorry.
If it's
I don't think that's enough.
environmentally
Yeah.
sound.
Well, when you say.
I feel like I should weigh in here.
Yeah, I think this is your,
I've been
this is,
biting my tongue for the last few minutes here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna. I mean, geese tend to be, so a little history first. So the geese that we have here, the Canada geese, the Canada goose that we have here, is an introduced species.
for those watching on television, Commissioner Klein, Mayor Klein is also, tell them who you are and your expertise, please.
I also work for Westchester County Parks as the Director of Conservation. So and a lot of municipalities throughout the area have problems with geese. These are non-migratory geese. These are geese that are just sticking around in one place. And there's a number of solutions that have been used in various places. You referenced the egg oiling. Egg oiling or egg addling is used. And there are multiple places where this is used. What's done is that essentially you can't just go out and remove eggs from a nest because then geese will just lay more eggs. So what you do is you either oil or addle the eggs in order so that the egg basically becomes inert. It just sits there, and the geese think that they're incubating it. They sit on it a long time. This helps to prevent increases in population, in goose population, but it does not help with reducing population. Geese are attracted to open water, so techniques have been used to plant buffers around lakes and ponds, because if the geese don't have a free way to just get into the water quickly, they usually won't use that water. They're using the water to escape from predators. People have used border collies or different types of dogs that are trained. There's companies you can hire that can come in and chase the geese out as well. And then it was referenced USDA.
USDA can do it at the airport.
Right, at the airport. And with the airport it's very specific though, because it has to do with dangers to planes. And so there are things done, bird strikes.
What about people? What about people who roll in it, kids pick it up, put it in their mouth?
Right, so what
it
you're
has
talking about
bird
is the
flu.
byproduct of the geese, and there's certainly ways to clean it up, but what's being asked is an effort to try and reduce goose population at Town Park, or at least the negative effects of it. And again, I think that the town can look into various methods that could potentially be used, depending on what the desired solution is, and I'm certainly to help, happy to help however I can.
Somebody report back to me. Josh, you have my number and whatever.
Sure.
I think we can make a public report when we are able to do so. Russ, you have something you would like to add?
I would like to add to the conversation. First of all, John, thank you for coming. And John's not the only one that's been very vocal about the problem. Has just gotten worse over the years. We looked into it last year, and with the help of Jason Klein, he put me in touch with a couple of people that are familiar with this kind of situation. And there was a plan in place. Now, here's the plan, and here's the problem. The plan was in place is that we could get these, I forgot who the organization is, but they will come and they will cull the geese. They will actually net them and take them away. But you can only do that when they're molting. And the problem is they molt where they nest. They do not nest in Wright Town Park. So they go away, they do their molting thing, they come back with all their new feathers, and then they come back. So they're gone. And so we can't net them because they can fly away.
If they are nesting in Edith Reed, why can't we talk to the people at Edith Reed?
Sure, go ahead and talk to them, but we have no way of knowing. Are you going to follow the geese in the sky and try to figure out where they're going? I suppose you could, but put little tracking devices on them. I don't know the answer to that question.
I think the bottom line is, with drones, we can follow them with our drone.
Russ, I don't know if I could just interject here for a second, but Russ, remember that you and I met with the representative from Geese Relief in the park.
Yes.
They're one of the groups that does border collies. Many institutions in Rye use them, including the Rye City School District and many of the clubs. And so his approach, the representative that we met with, is two-pronged. He has his dogs. They have to come a couple times a day, I think at least twice a day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It is a year-round obligation. You can't just do it for like a few months in the summer or whatever. You do have to have them come. And they also do what Mayor Klein said, egg addling. That expense is somewhere around, I think, $12,000 to $15,000 a year. The Friends had examined it because I too field a lot of complaints about the geese from parents who want to keep their kids off the grass in the park, which is such a shame, and from other dog owners who express similar problems to John's. My own dog, I don't walk him in the park at all because he's a lab and likes to eat everything, including goose poop, and it does make them sick. So that is an expense. That was maybe a year or two ago, Russ, when you and I met with that person. So
And I met with the second company. I met with the second company also, and the prices are comparable, and both of them say this does not solve the problem. It's ongoing. It's not like you can just do it for a year, and then you're all we have exactly what they want. It's just that we have open water and we have endless amount of food.
The Friends Board, I presented it to the Friends Board and asked them if we could fund it, and the board voted against that. They felt that fits sort of squarely within the commission's purview. So I'm sorry to say that it's not likely the Friends would be the source of funding, but I do agree that we field a lot of complaints about it.
Well, I think we need, obviously, this is a complaint that is being brought to our attention, and we need to address it one way or another. I think we need to speak to these companies. Diana, as far as you know, the Rye School District hires one of these two companies?
So Geese Relief is the company, and I believe not only the Rye City School District, but he rattled off so many. I think AYC uses them. I think Appowamus uses them. I'm sure
we should look into it and bring it before the commission. It'll be a commission decision if they wanted to spend that money to do this. And I don't have a problem putting it on the agenda for next month if we can get it ready by then. All right, acceptable? All right. All right, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you for coming, John. Much appreciated. And briefly, we're going to talk about the community conversation, and then Diana, you'll have the stage for your presentation. Go ahead. Poster's up there.
So this is our commercial for the annual community conversation. as agreed at the last monthly meeting, our open air meeting of the Wright Town Park Commission will happen on the morning of Saturday, May 31st at 10 a.m. in one of the pavilions at Wright Town Park. Please come. Bring your thoughts, bring your ideas. We have we'll hear hopefully from the Friends of Wright Town Park. We will hopefully hear from Barley Beach House about their special events program and anything that's new this coming season. I understand there's ice cream going to be sold at the North Gate. Very special, we have a presentation scheduled regarding the Wright Town Park Climate Adaptation and Assessment Plan, and the group, environmental engineers who are conducting it will be with us and tabling at the community conversation to answer questions and solicit input. So please do come.
Diana's on the screen. Introduce yourself again. The Friends of Wright Town Park.
I'm Diana Page. I'm the president of the Friends of Wright Town Park. And I hope you guys can make my presentation appear on the screen. I have a copy here on my iPad that's next to me if I need to scroll through it. I'm ready when you are. I have some exciting news about what we're hoping to be able to do for the tower building.
I think I have it
There
up.
we go.
Ready to go.
There you go. Okay. So we are the Friends of Wright Town Park. We are a small 501c3, as many of you know. We were founded in 1991. You all know what Wright Town Park is, and what the Friends does is beautify and improve the park through sustainable gardening and land management, programming, and amenities. For the last couple of years, we've invested about $25,000 annually to design and maintain 20 gardens and green spaces throughout the park, including planting new trees, converting these 20 gardens in the park slowly but surely into sort of largely native and eco-beneficial plantings. We've done that under the direction of our Chief Gardening Officer, Lucy Burkhoff, who's a local gardener. And we plant trees, we maintain beehives, as you guys know, and harvest our own honey with the help of Russ Gold and our board member, Chris Meyer. The tower building, I'm sure you're all familiar with. It is designed in 1909 and probably hasn't been touched since then, maybe. It's in pretty grave disrepair, as you can see in that photograph. Last year, not pictured in the photograph, but last year, we invested about $80,000 in what we call a phase one project to restore several parts of the tower building exterior, so principally the doors, as you may recall, and the pergola on the second story, and I have before and after pictures later in the presentation. We also redesigned that garden that you can see right in the front. We enlarged it, we cobblestoned it in, and again converted a lot of the plantings there to native, pollinator-friendly, and a very beautiful aesthetic design. The commission very kindly voted to replace the flagpole, which you can't really see it there, but it was kind of really deteriorated, and so you guys very kindly added a brand new flagpole to the mix, so it looks really beautiful. We can go on to the next slide. There we go. So this is what we're calling phase two, and we are very excited about a couple of things. We initially had planned to kind of power wash and paint the tower building, but when we met on site with Gary Zuckerman, with Debbie, with Vic, Russ, and Gary G. and Francesco, Gary G. had said that the better way forward, just given the state of deterioration of the stucco on the exterior of the building, would actually be to re-stucco the building. And he described a process very similar to what had happened at the bathhouse, where there's this whole mesh and cement and layers of stuff that Gary G. specified. And so he detailed that process for us. We, in turn, went and got a bid from a stucco specialist who our stonemason at Elizeo has used for many years. And he has done a patch test right outside Russ's office. So just taking the one section of the wall right outside Russ's office to demonstrate the process that Gary G. had set forth that he undertook. So it's sort of a audition, if you will. Russ has taken a look at that work. I think he showed it to Vic today. We will, of course, get Gary G to come and inspect it in person and make sure he's satisfied with the quality of that work. I'm out of town, so I've only seen it in photographs, but to me it looks really good. Russ seemed to think it went really well. So, you know, provided that Gary G signs off on it, what we are saying to the commission today is that we would like to undertake the first two parts of this phase 2. One of them is to re-stucco the exterior of the tower building. And then the second really sort of wonderful piece, if you look at that bottom row of photographs, the second photograph in, that white rosette window with the plexiglass and then other plexiglass nailed over the broken plexiglass, that's what the rosette windows look like right now. The picture next to that is actually, we found in the basement one surviving example of what the original rosette window was. So that is a beautifully carved wood window. It's funny because up in the tower, I don't have a picture of it, but up in the tower is a very cheap plywood sort of facsimile of this that must have been in use at some point. But that you see in that third picture from the left is the original. And we are hiring Marco, the same guy who restored the doors so beautifully last year and the pergola. He is going to be able to use that as a template and build us 8 new, you know, I guess you would say replicas, but really they're exactly what the original window was. So we're very excited about those first two sort of aspects of that, and that's what we're really here to talk about tonight. So I think we can go to the next slide. Because I'm going to take you through more of the before and afters of what we've done before to give you a sense of why you should trust us with this work. So the next slide is why invest in Rydtown Park. And I'm sure I don't need to tell you guys that, but you know, it's a community. It's for our community. It's a beautiful green space. It's a beach. It's an outdoor classroom. You know, we have kids from Rye and from other local communities that come and volunteer. They plant gardens with us. They do beach cleanups with us. They run, they play, they swim, they sled. We all come here as a community to walk and spend time outdoors. Rydtown Park welcomes 90,000 visitors per year from, as you know, Rye, all over Westchester, New York City, and beyond that. And we feel, you know, why invest in the tower building? The answer is twofold. Number one, it's pretty grim to look at that building kind of hovering. It's sort of like no matter how much nice work we do in the park, at the end of the day, this sort of decrepit building, you know, lurks in the distance, and we would like to restore the exterior. I think beyond just the aesthetics, doing this properly will help to protect the building, and I think open the door to future use. It will, you know, maybe this building could be a community center someday. That's kind of my personal dream, but I'm sure we can find another use. But it really starts with sealing the envelope, protecting the building, and restoring the exterior. So that's where we'd like to start. This next slide is, I use this presentation as I'm going out and talking with potential donors. So why invest in the Friends of Rydtown Park? But this is relevant to you guys too. We do have a proven track record of impactful improvements in Rydtown Park. The artisans that we intend to hire for these projects are people that we have experience with and have a tremendous confidence level in. We think that this will take about 10 to 12 weeks to complete once we, you know, have whatever building permits we need and whatever permissions we need and can get started. Obviously, that's somewhat weather dependent. You can't stucco in the rain, so we need the weather to be a little bit on our side, and every construction project since the dawn of time takes longer than the estimate. But we're hoping, you know, 10 to 12 to 16 weeks, we would be able to have a beautifully restored tower building. And then we can just skip right to the next slide and start looking at some of our track record of success. So you guys very well may remember what the doors to the tower building looked like before we restored them last year. They were in pretty bad shape. The transom windows above were also broken in many places. You can see the work that Marco did to restore these doors. I mean, the shape, look at that third picture from the left. You can just see that once he took some of the metal plates off of these doors, the deterioration was so severe. But we didn't replace the doors. He actually painstakingly restored the original doors. And if you look at the green doors, the finished product all the way to the right, that's brand new hardware that we purchased. And went to considerable expense, I forget the number, but several $1,000s to purchase the historically appropriate mortise hardware rather than just going to Home Depot and getting some new doorknobs. So we really went through a very painstaking process to restore them so that they would be historically accurate. If we flip to the next slide, you just get a little bit closer look at the transom windows. And again, we hired a local stained and leaded glass specialist called Rolfs. They've been in business for, I don't know, over 100 years in just restoring stained glass and leaded glass windows like this. So they removed the windows, took them off to their shop in Mount Vernon, and delivered back a fully restored product. So those windows, the window that you see on the bottom right, the after, is beautifully restored, and we were able to remove the 2 sheets of plexiglass that were covering the previous broken windows. So I don't know if you guys have seen it in person, but it's really extraordinary work that Marco and Rolfs did. And if you want to just quickly go to the next slide, the pergola, you can see in some of those pictures how rotted the wood was. It was really so badly deteriorated. And again, Marco, was able to do extraordinary work to replace them. It's a little hard to see on the right, but he did an extraordinary job. The pergola really looks beautiful. If you want to flip to the next slide, the fountain, this was all part of our sort of tower building phase 1. We wanted to make the plaza in front of the tower building very beautiful. So there was this very broken fountain with this sort of exposed PVC pipe. We took out the sort of innards of that and made it into a planter, which we filled with native seagrasses. And then if you want to just go to the next slide, you can see the whole plaza, the effect on the whole plaza, to really open up that space and the views toward the water, to redo that flagpole garden, to add those red Adirondack chairs, which I have to say every time I walk by them, people are sitting in them, people are visiting, enjoying them. It's just been such a huge hit with the park goers. Other successes we've had in the past, if you want to go to the next slide, the Charlie North Shield outdoor classroom, I'm sure you guys will remember that. We took sort of a muddy space by the pond. We had some money from the family of one of our former board members, Charlie North Shield, and we added some funding of our own, and we installed this beautiful, what we call the outdoor classroom, because kids, classrooms of people, they used to come and study the Rye Poetry Path. They come and sit along those 2 stone walls and that beautiful curved teak bench. We planted several new native trees. We planted 2 new gardens on either side of those stone walls, and then that garden to the left with that big white tree that you can see, we took out some of the invasives and other plants in there and restored, put some native plants in. This next slide might be my favorite, honestly. So that's actually the same spot, believe it or not. That on the left is a Bradford pear tree, which is highly invasive and really doesn't offer any ecological benefit. And on the right, you can see what it looks like now. We took out the invasive Bradford pear and put in all of these native flowers and shrubs to attract pollinators and support the local ecology. And so every time I walk by there, I see hummingbirds, I see goldfinches, I see butterflies, I see monarch butterflies, which are endangered. So we're really trying hard to make the park very thoughtfully and carefully, trying to make this a real habitat for our pollinators, for some of our endangered insects and species. And so we've been really successful so far. Next slide, you guys all know the daffodils, I'm sure. We did that in partnership with the Little Garden Club of Rye back in 2021. We planted 28,000 daffodils on the hillside, and we planted some more along the seaside walk, and they come back every year. They're just blooming now, so I hope you'll stop by and see them. They've been a great attraction. People love to come. Kids come there on field trips with their classes. All kinds of folks come and spend time in the daffodils. So it's been a really great attraction for Ryetown Park. And then the next slide, you guys might remember the Aerovator. One of our donors, in memory of his wife, wanted to make a meaningful contribution to the park, and so he purchased an Aerovator, which allows Russ and his team to reseed the Great Lawn, reseed the grass, kind of on their own schedule. It used to be the case that they had to contract with somebody from the outside. They used to just set up a time and hope for the best, and didn't necessarily have the favorable weather conditions like rain to make that grass seed take effect. So this was actually one of our first, in this new version of the Friends, this was one of our first big successes. And I think it's been a big help to Russ and his team in terms of park management. Next slide is the beehives, which again, that's Russ and Chris Meyer, our board member, and I think you guys have all had some of the Rydtown Park honey. So, the other slides, we don't really need to look at those. It's just kind of, we would like to get started with, once Gary G obviously signs off and is happy with the process, we'd like to get started with restuccoing the exterior of the tower building and restoring those rosette windows. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or I'm happy to just have you detail for me the process you would like us to follow. I think we do need to apply for a building permit. And then we're sort of ready to go if you guys are ready.
Diana, thank you. And I think that this presentation was really great, not only for the work that you're proposing to do with the Friends, but all the work that you've done in the past. It's a remarkable achievement, and I think that we all consider the Friends of Rydtown Park true partners with the Park Commission to make our wonderful park a better place. So thank you so much.
Of course, we're happy to. Makes us happy too.
Go ahead.
I wanted to echo Gary's sentiment and just also mention, because I know, and I don't know her last name, Lucy, I believe.
Burkhoff, yeah.
Burkhoff
Yeah.
and she was at the community conversation last year. She is so talented and so dedicated to the park, and a lot of what you see here, Diana, we're grateful for your work, but a lot of it is Lucy's talent and her great eye for what can be planted where.
Sure,
So
absolutely right.
I think I'd be remiss if I don't thank her. This question is for Debbie, because I know I did some for the county, the federal appropriations request. I know there was some funding for National Historic Sites. Did you fill out any for any of our representatives this year?
The congressionally directed spending requests, we absolutely did.
Okay.
We submitted applications both to Senators Schumer and Gillibrand, and we're in the process of submitting to Congressman Latimer. The projects that we submitted are the same projects that we submitted last year, which made it to both senators' priority lists and made it through Appropriations Committee, and we're sitting in the FEMA bill waiting to be passed when all congressionally directed funding requests were frozen. I would say that there's specifically the projects were to put in a green parking lot so that the stormwater from the neighborhood does not continue to flow into the sound, to address the heat island created by that enormous field of crumbling asphalt. Also, the coping on top of the seawall, which is crumbling, and the railing, the safety railing that sits atop of it, needs to be replaced as well. So those were our priority projects.
Mm-hmm.
There was a third project, and that is lighting. The lighting is not part of the parking lot shovel-ready project up until now, because it's not a clean water, it's not a stormwater project. And so we have now formulated that as a project for that we've also applied for funding. I'm sorry, you want to say something?
I know that the Interior Department had some funding. One of the fund agencies was the Interior Department. It was targeted towards nationally registered historic places. And
the problem with that, we tried to do that. We found out, despite the fact that way back when Lisa Easton had gotten us on the National Register of Historic Places, both the national and the state, for some reason, we were not on the top list of, Debbie, you remember what it was? The
federally historically significant places. We're on the state list, but we're not on the.
No, we're on the federal list, but we're not on the federal list for
significance.
For significant places.
Right.
So that brought our
That's a
rating
whole
down.
new application process.
It's a whole new application.
Oh, okay. No, because I know that Some of them initially, they just ask for the register number when you do the initial appropriations. And that might be something, like I said, I know you don't want to throw a million things at the federal government, especially since the parking lot is very much a top priority. But it might not be harmful to maybe add just another one or two, and once we get the funding for the parking lot, kind of.
Just a word of caution. I learned today that substantial FEMA funding, FEMA grant funding has been canceled entirely by the Trump administration. So looking to the federal government for help in a variety of ways may be impacted.
We learned that as well.
Yeah, I've
Yeah, and
learned
I
that.
was going to
with-
bring that up also, because another FEMA project that we have sitting is for our stormwater management. The project that Dolph Rothfeld Engineering designed, based on the FEMA study we had done the previous year. And yeah, that is also part of the, I think, the cutback that we're going to suffer. I think it's both the congressionally directed spending for the parking lot and the FEMA cancellation for the stormwater management will affect us both. That's a total of about $7 million for the park between the two. So
But
that's a
on
big
the
hit.
upside, you know, the longer we ask for it, maybe the better off when funding does become available,
Well-
the better shot we have.
Well, just in that vein, we're going forward now with new state applications. We just filed a state application for the green infrastructure parking lot again. And we're gonna file an application when it opens, a larger project that will include both the green infrastructure parking lot and the stormwater management, because that program, I forgot what, do you remember the name of it?
Yes, Green Resiliency Grant.
Resiliency
Program.
grant. That program has a maximum of 10 million per project. So we're gonna put both of those in there. So yes, we're not gonna stop applying.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right. You got it. You got it.
I will tell you that Maggie Fleischens entered a comment on Facebook. She says that she joined late and she wants to know if the Friends have enough funding to do the stucco project.
Well, the answer to that is yes, but we can always use more funding because, as we know, with historic buildings, I think you guys have run into this once or twice before, things always come up. So the answer is yes, we can pay for it, but we are still in a fundraising effort right now. Maggie, and you're my neighbor right around the corner. Because we also, it doesn't really stop here. I mean, we are prioritizing this by the funding that we have. So the rosettes and the stucco would go first. What we would do next, and the reason that I'm trying to raise a top line number of about $350,000 total, is I would like to also restore the windows on the top level with 2 columns. And if we can raise the money, I would love to do what we call the tower left wall. So if you're facing the tower building, it's the wall to the left, which goes toward Dearborn. So to anyone listening, we welcome all donations. We can put them to very, very good use. And if we manage to get all that work done, anybody who walks through the park can see that there's quite a bit more to do after that. So
Well, left unsaid, Diana, is you hinted at it, but once you start the work, there may be unforeseen events that occur in those old walls that will increase the cost. So whatever you can raise is beneficial. And of course, the Park Commission, Diana mentioned the wall to the left. We intend to repair the wall to the right with grants from the state of New York, both from Senator Shelley Mayer and from Assemblyman Steve Otis. So
Mary, is there any chance that those grants from Shelley Mayer and Steve Otis, is there any chance that that would be sufficient funding to encompass also the wall to the left?
No.
Or do you think
No,
probably
I'm
not?
hoping that
Okay.
I'm hoping that it will cover just the wall to the right. But next year is another year.
Yeah. Listen, we're trying to raise that funding as well. We have a bid to fix that wall. That was something we discussed that day in the park when you guys were there. And we're just, trying to triage as best we can with the funding that we have. But I am undertaking a robust fundraising effort right now. And we can use all.
You guys
the
are
help we
doing,
can get.
you're doing a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Thank
You
you.
raised the question of the permits. That's something that you have to deal with the city of Rye, and Josh can alert his people there to work with you. I don't know if permits are actually required to do stucco work or window work. I don't know what the city code is.
Nor do I, but I'm sure that Ryan will be very eager to help you.
Great. Is that Ryan?
Ryan
Who
Coyne.
do Ryan Coyne. Okay.
Yes.
And so he should be my first stop in terms of getting the right permits.
Actually,
Second stop, after you finish the design with Gary G.
Well, sure. I meant just in terms
no,
of
but
getting the
I'm
right
thinking
permits
about the permit will probably come from Christian Miller, the building department.
Right, okay,
Got it.
okay.
Got it.
You can talk to Christian.
Okay.
Very good. Diana,
So
thank you.
we're excited to get started. I don't know exactly what we need from this meeting. I don't know if we need a resolution or I don't know how it works, but we just want to make sure we're, proceeding
I don't know if
correctly
we need a
with all the right
resolution. I'll leave that up to
permissions
the other
start this work.
commissioners. We could either do a voice resolution, or we could do next month, do a resolution supporting that work. What is the feeling of the commissioners?
I think that we should just all indicate our enthusiastic support right now.
Okay. We have, by unanimous consent, enthusiastic support for the work of the Friends.
Yay,
And
hooray,
you
I'll
forgot
take it.
gracious.
I will just say, we're ready to start as
We're very
soon as we
gracious.
get the right permissions and documentation. We're ready to go as soon as we can. So it's great if we can get all that done.
Thank you, Diana. Have a good vacation.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Diana.
Debbie, just as a point of interest, when the organization, like for Friends, they don't have to bid because it's private funds, right?
Correct.
It's
Correct.
their project. They follow their rules.
No, just,
Well, at least in terms of procurement.
Okay, next item is resolution to award a contract for the repair of the Rye-Town parking lot. We have just alluded to the bad condition of the parking lot. This is something we do every year, is we pick out the worst parts of the parking lot and we patch it. And Debbie, you want to go further and just explain what this is, who got it and why?
Yeah.
You can do it from your seat if you're on the mic.
Okay, I'm on that. So we went out to our engineering firm, Dolph Rotfeld Engineering, developed a plan together with Russell Gold and Victor Federico regarding the most troublesome parts of the parking lot. An RFP was issued. We had multiple bidders, and the lowest responsible bidder is Westmoreland, Westmoreland Construction, which has done a number of other projects at Rye-Town Park very successfully. And the amount is not to exceed is $22,700, which is less than was in the capital budget.
Okay.
do you know if this is hot patch or cold patch? This is
I assume it's hot patch, but
hot patch,
Yeah.
okay, and
Pardon?
oh, sorry. It doesn't involve any milling, right? It's just.
No.
no, they're going to
It's gonna be milled, and then there's gonna be the, tack level, and, just like you were paving, re-asphalting a road,
Okay.
right?
Until our large grant comes through,
right.
God willing.
Hopefully,
other-
we will at some point get to stop putting good money after bad.
That's the goal. And then, so the broader project will have the permeable surface, right?
Yes.
Wherever it percolates, yes. And then where it doesn't percolate, we'll be there's plans to basically pipe the water to where it needs to go.
Further questions? Motion and second, please.
Motion. Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Cohn?
Yes.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
President Zuckerman?
Yes. Next item is resolution authorizing a change order for the repair of the Rye Town Park Pavilion columns. This is an add-on to the substantial work we did on both pavilion roofs. Our architect, Gary Gianfrancisco, had sent a memorandum which was forwarded to the commission for review. Basically, although we knew that the columns would need repair, the amount of the repair could not be determined until the roof had been raised and examined, etc. And we had also hoped not to have to get to this extent of the work, but it is what it is. And we had the added burden of our insurance company looking at the columns and determining that it was in dangerous condition. So that further impelled us to get this work done. And there's a picture of a column, obviously needs work. Obviously, this is the same firm that did the wonderful work on the pavilion, and they are specialists in this. So unless there are further comments, may I have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
Debbie, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Cohn?
Yes.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
President Zuckerman?
Yes. The last item to be discussed is the policy of keeping the beach gates open at all times during the off-season. Debbie circulated a memo earlier about this. Would you like to summarize it? I don't think we need I think this is more of an administrative decision, but please summarize exactly what's been happening.
Well, in summary, we've receive a caretaker's report pretty much every evening. With a disturbing reoccurrence, there have been issues where the caretaker, when he does his evening patrol, finds people on the sand, either having a party or, in the most recent case, climbing. There were 20 kids climbing on the rocks. And he not only had trouble convincing them to leave, which is a confrontation that we would prefer he not have, but it puts the kids themselves at risk as well. And it raises the question, should we reconsider the policy of keeping the beach unlocked and open to the public? Does that signal the wrong message, which is that it's okay to help yourself to the park after dark when there is no staff on? And is that a concern to be addressed?
I had a conversation with Gary about this earlier today, and I have very strong feelings about this. I believe that we should, during the off hours, keep the beach locked up. I think kids, rocks, partying is never, and water is never a good combination. And we are liable, or the park, the commission is liable for whatever happens. And I think it's a way to not only protect the public, but to protect us as well.
Thank you. To tell you the truth, we were all aware that the beach was open during the off-season. I was never aware that it was unlocked at night. I mean, that's the thing that surprised me, is that it was unlocked at night. I know kids can climb fences, etc., but to keep the beach unlocked seems to me, I was just taken by surprise with that. So I'm in favor of administratively changing the policy to lock the gates when the last maintenance person leaves.
Yeah, I mean, most parks that I know of are opened on dusk, and then once, and then at that point, certainly the beach is closed, and we have a responsibility to, look after we have to limit risk as much as we can. And it seems like locking the gates is a very easy step.
Even in
Towards that.
Crawford Park, we have signs, Park closes at dusk, and we have a gate that gets locked.
Right, exactly.
And I would go further to say that, when, during the summer months, during the warmer months, when the lifeguard is not on duty and there's no events going on, maybe we should keep the gates locked from a certain time at night, whether it be after the fireworks, if there's fireworks in Playland, et cetera, but
I would
until-
say the beach does get locked in season
in season.
as soon as the
Lifeguards
beach has
off.
been cleared. No, as soon as the beach has been cleared. The lifeguards go off duty at 6.
Okay,
The beach, we allow residents and permit holders to stay on the beach until dusk or until 8 o'clock. And then after that, the gates are locked. And they are unlocked the next morning at 9. We have loads of staff in season. Off-season, at this point, we have a maintenance person, and Russ is there all the time, but he comes and goes. He's not there on a full-time basis.
All right, thank you. Josh, anything?
No, it's a good idea. Let's lock the gates.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's the administrative decision, policy of the commission. The manager report is set forth, and Russ, that's a very good manager report this month. Not that it's bad other months, it's a good report. It's a good report this month, very comprehensive, so thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, can I just backtrack a minute about this new administrative decision? What you're, how do I say this? What you're not taking into consideration is that, for example, just yesterday, it's a nice day, kids are off from school. There's, it was close to 70 degrees, probably at 100 people on the beach. Families, kids, parents, whatever, all right? That means we, at this point in time, the last person there is at 4 o'clock. And I'm sure they stayed until dusk. So you're setting us up, and I don't mean this in a I'm not trying to say that you're putting us, but we are getting set up for confrontation with the patrons. What I might suggest is that let Charlie lock the beach when he comes and does a security check.
Usually doesn't get there till 11 o'clock.
And sometimes he gets there at 9 o'clock. Again, I don't, and then this past, a Saturday ago, when it was a Saturday 2 weeks ago, that it was 75 degrees. Had 500 people on the beach. If it hadn't been for a quick change in the weather, I'm just saying that, as Debbie pointed out, we just, at this time of year, we just don't have the staff, and we're gonna get, it's not gonna be easy for us to clear the beach of 100 or more people on a nice, calm.
In 2 weeks, we're on season,
That's correct.
and the beach gets locked at that point.
No, 6 weeks. We don't start till, I think the first day is the 23rd or the 24th of May. We're still in April.
I think when do the lifeguards come on duty? Then? Yeah, but, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to have people on the beach at night. Jason used the word dusk. I mean, that's what we should do. If we have to have bring on a maintenance person to close the beach at that time, then we'll do it. Bring one person on to come back at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm not saying that they have to close it at 4, you know, come back at 7 o'clock.
I'm telling you
Okay.
what the current schedule is
All right.
for staffing.
I'm suggesting that you have one person lock the gates at dusk. That's all.
That was one of Emily's concerns in an email. Would it be additional cost to the park?
I don't think that one person for an hour is that great a cost to bear for that. I think
No, but you're inconveniencing that person. Now we have to get somebody that's already gone home and has to come back from wherever they live to come and do it.
or they start later in the day and stay. All right, thank you. Anything else? I would be remiss not to wish everybody a joyous Passover season for those who celebrate, and a happy Easter for those who celebrate Easter, which is this coming Sunday. So with that,
Aaron, before you leave, I just want to give a plug to two events coming up. What? It just disappeared. Yeah. I'm not sure where it's from. We have our community cleanup event coming up on May 3rd, and annual Pride celebration on May 31st.
right after our community conversation. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There's community cleanup, got that.
City of Rye, Rye Nature Center, Rye Neck, Mamaroneck River, Portchester downtown, and Rybrook at the Pasilipo Center.
Yes, and you can, the QR code is there, you can sign, pre-register for whichever location you'd like to work at, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's a great way to help the community and have fun with your neighbors.
All right. Thank you. Anything else?
Pride is there. Thank you. So that's an art festival that starts at 3, and a tabling event, and flag raising at 6 p.m. and a parade up to the brand new, newly painted mural by our community's children, and then a beach party on the sand until dusk when the beach is cleared.
Thank you, Deb. Upcoming meetings, May 20th, community conversation, May 31st, and then June 17th. Motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.